Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast, episode 200. Thank you for 200 incredible shows. I'm Nick, and we have Harrison here, obviously, again tonight. How are we doing, Harrison?
Fantastic. Who would have thought we'd be here 200 shows later, Nick?
I honestly, like when we started this, I'm like, I don't know how long this will go. Maybe a year or so, maybe tops. And here we are 3.5 years later, still trucking along, still love doing it. And we're continuing to grow every week, meeting awesome people along the way. So it has been an incredible ride.
Well, what blows me away is that, we're picking up hundreds of followers every week. We hit 2 million views total across our socials last month. Like, it's
Yeah.
incredible, this community and the engagement and activity we get on our pages. And it's been so much fun. The first episode, I think like 3 people watched it, and it was the 3 of us, you, me, and
Right.
Sean.
Yeah.
To get to that point is crazy.
Yeah. We'll get into more of it too, but I mean the support has been absolutely incredible. Like the comments that we get, like I love the trivia, love what you guys are doing, like keep it up because it is unique. So it's been awesome. But all right, before we get going, let's get all the business stuff out of the way. And you can follow and like us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram and Rumble and TikTok. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Our affiliate sponsor links you can find at the top of our socials. You get Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You click on these links. It helps support us, supports those businesses, and it just builds a partnership with us and those companies. And we get a nice little kickback. So it's a way to support us without spending any extra cash. So go ahead and click those links and help support our show and get your shopping done all in one go. Also, our Rounding Third merch. I've been pushing it. Here's the tumbler, the Rounding Third baseball tumbler. It is a beaut. I use this thing everywhere. Got my license plate, got my car magnet. I'm all decked out in Rounding Third right now, so it's awesome.
Taking over North Carolina.
Yep, absolutely. So
That tumbler is slick.
yeah, it's awesome. I love it. All right, let's jump in. 200th episode, like we said at the top, like absolutely crazy that we're here, but loving every minute of it. But we have a lot of people to thank before we get into the meat of the show. But first, I want to say personally, thank you to Joshua Rodriguez. So I went to college with Josh, and we spent numerous posts like talking back and forth about baseball. And he's like, man, like your knowledge of baseball is something that should be shared. Like you should think about starting a podcast. And I'm like, nah, like I don't think people want to see my ugly mug on screen all the time. Like, but I threw it out there. I was like, hey, does anybody want to start one? And Harrison jumps on and Sean joins. We'll talk about Sean in a minute. Joins in, and it has been a wild ride since. But I just want to personally thank Josh for giving me the nudge to, give up the courage to start this.
Yeah, so I didn't know you did that, Josh, but I appreciate you taking the step to push Nick because I've told the story many times, but literally there was a random Facebook post Nick put out basically saying, hey, would anybody want to do a baseball podcast? I was scrolling on Facebook one night. I saw it. I read it. I'm like, yeah, that'd be all right. I said, he probably will find somebody else. So I scrolled past it, and like 30 seconds later, I'm like, no, that would actually be a lot of fun. So I scrolled back and just basically responded like, hey, I'd be in. And here we are. I mean, honestly, I was gonna scroll right past it and continue on, and really glad I did not, because here we are 3.5 years later and having a blast creating baseball content for everybody. But it was just just sheer luck that I was online when the post came up and I saw it, and it's funny how it all comes together.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. So again, thank you, Josh. Really appreciate it. And I'm also going to thank you, Sean, because Sean came on with us. He was with us for the first 3 years. And I just want to throw this statement because it's a lot of things that he used to say a lot during the podcast. So started this crazy journey with us for 3 years with countless laughs and hot takes. I'm not spilling any state secrets here, but we couldn't have done it without you. If we come out and shove like we have been, water will find its level. Um, Sean was just known for throwing out a lot of cliches and stuff like that. So it was awesome having him and having a third person on and having his take all the time. So it was incredible.
Yeah, I love Sean. I did not know Sean before we got started. Ironically enough, you both knew my cousin from somewhere else, but
Yeah.
I did not know Sean before we started. I was like, man, who is this guy? Like, are we gonna get along? And within like 5 minutes, I'm like, I'm gonna like this guy a lot. And still love Sean. He is one of a kind with his hot takes and his random rants and his little sayings, but he added so much kind of color to the show, especially in the early stages when we were terrible at this.
Yeah.
And Sean would always, kind of bring some levity to the show and keep us relaxed. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you will see him in a couple of weeks when we do our season preview. He is going to come back on for that, so you will be able to see Sean if you have not seen Sean before. But so this is a list of all of the guests that we've had on our podcast since we started, and the list is incredible. Jim Rowe, former Red Sox trainer, we had when it was like episode 3, like one of our very first. Listening to his Red Sox stories were awesome. We've had David Griffin. He's now pitching for the Syracuse Mets. We have Grant Levine. He's in the Rockies system right now. He's in AAA. Anthony Delfonso. He won the Mexican Triple Crown, a few years back. He owns a Triple Crown Baseball Academy in Maine. He does incredible work with the youth in Maine for baseball.
And I can vouch for having seen that man hit a softball like 9,000 feet.
It's incredible, dude.
I've never seen a ball travel that distance before. It was astonishing.
Yeah. Doug, he was, stationed in Japan, and I played softball with him. A fan of the show. He's come on a couple times as well. We'll mention Craig, I said tolerable Yankees fan. He's been on a few times, and Craig's great because like he's a level-headed Yankees fan and is realistic about the Yankees, and he's not so much like in your face about it, which us as Red Sox fans really appreciate. Yep. But you can actually have a civil conversation with him about the Yankees.
I didn't think Yankees fans like that actually existed, so Craig proved me wrong.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite shows of all time was the show we had with Cam Beckwith after the Maine Little League team went to the Little League World Series. That was a couple summers ago. That was an incredible watch, incredible interview, and that was a lot of fun. We've had Morgan Sawyer and Matt Gledhill. They were on the SOS podcast. They've had us on a couple times. We've done some previews and drafts with them. That was a ton of fun. And then our 2 baseball historians here. We got Baseball History Dork, and we got Nostalgic Baseball Geezer, which you guys saw last week when we kind of went over the fantasy stuff. These 2 are, if you are not following them on Facebook, you have to. They're absolutely incredible. The content that they put out and the knowledge they have about the history of the game, you have to give them a follow. So Baseball History Dork, Nostalgic Baseball Geezer, please give them a follow.
Yeah, these guys know so much about baseball. I feel like we know a lot about baseball. These guys would run circles around us with what they have in terms of historical knowledge. It is incredible. Their content is fantastic. They're entertaining. You should definitely check these guys out. And we're hoping that we'll see them more regularly on our show because there's a lot of great topics we can get into that they are absolutely experts in.
Yep. And when they start talking about that stuff, I'm just going to be sitting here and nodding and just be like,
sit cool. back and let them go.
Yep, exactly. And then Brian Sparkman, who is my cousin, he lives in Texas. He came on the show during one of our live watches, I think, once. So these are all the people that have made appearances on our show. So thank you for coming on and spending your time with us. It's meant a lot.
Yeah. So. And always looking for more guests. If there's somebody who wants to come in and talk a baseball topic or they've got a great story, we're always, we have people in our DMs, proposing people that can come on as guests or topics to talk about. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. So, and obviously thank you to everybody that follows our show. I mean, we have, I think it's 13,000 plus across all platforms. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without your support. So it has been absolutely incredible. The people we've met, the excitement around baseball, the stories that we get in the comments section from people that have like met certain stars or were at certain like key events in baseball history have been absolutely incredible. And I've learned a lot from them too. So we want to thank you guys, the followers that have been supporting us and sharing your baseball memories and knowledge with us. It means a lot.
Well, and I think what's cool too is I think for all of our followers out there who have engaged, who have commented or left messages and things like that, like you're hearing from us. Like I think that surprises people.
Yeah.
You know, we'll have videos that have hundreds of comments, thousands of comments, and we respond to all of them. Like that's you and I. So it's like 75% Nick, 25% me responding to those comments. But you're actually getting us. It's not AI. It's not somebody else doing it for us. Like it is very much us engaging and responding.
Yeah.
And that makes us a lot of fun because we're actually able to talk one on one. Where most of these other podcasts and shows, it's either no response or it's somebody who's doing it for them and you're never actually talking to the guys on the video.
Right. So every time you answer a trivia question incorrectly and it says good guess, not him, which is my go-to like nice way of putting you down instead of just being like wrong and moving on. Like that's me typing that out every single time. We don't have a program that answers your comments. That's me saying good guess, not him, and send. It's been a lot of work, but it's been worth every minute of it. So appreciate it. Please keep sharing our page with everybody and keep supporting us. It's been incredible. So before we move on to this, Harrison, I want to kind of put you on the spot, but what has been your like favorite memory or funniest memory of the past 200 shows?
Oh man, there's so many. There's so many good moments, but I think some of the most fun I've had is when we've just done the baseball watch parties.
Yeah.
And we've had people in the comments, we're talking baseball, we're sharing things back and forth. I think that as much as this is a show, you know, it is a podcast, it is a show. We do have a format. We do follow a general show structure. We have a lot of fun in the comments. We have a lot of fun in our more open-ended shows. Like typically Sunday's a show and Thursday's kind of a more open-ended, just live stream, like just come hang out with us. Those to me are the most fun because as much as I love talking baseball, I love talking baseball with other fans because the point of the point of what we're doing is we are fans first. And this really is kind of a podcast or a show by fans for fans.
Right.
And I really love when we get comments coming in and we're talking baseball, we're debating topics so to me, I think some of those watch parties have been the most fun for me because it's just been a bunch of us hanging out together, watching baseball, talking about it.
Yeah, those have been absolutely incredible, and you're right, a ton of fun. My favorite, funniest moment though was I think it was early in the first year. It might have been mid first year. We're in like mid topic, and all of a sudden Harrison's cat comes out of nowhere. and
I didn't want to talk about this, Nick.
I had to bring it up because I absolutely lost it. It was the funniest thing. The cat comes up out of nowhere, latches onto his shoulder. You just see Harrison kind of disappear out of the screen for a second. He brushes the cat off. Sean's still like going on his rant.
Sean had no idea it happened.
I am losing it. He's trying to bring the show back, and I couldn't. I was done for like 2 or 3 minutes. But that was one of my
you ended up shutting your camera off. I think you almost rebooted the whole show. Like it was a disaster. But
oh my god, it was awesome.
But this is a live show. Like stuff happens.
Right.
You know, we lose our train of thought. I mean, there was one show where I spent like 5 minutes just talking by myself to people because your internet failed. Yep. And you had to like reboot and come back in the middle of a show. You know, it's live. Stuff happens. Yeah. And it's not always pretty, but we soldier through it.
Yeah, it's been such a wild ride, and I've loved every second of it. So,
but I think that's what makes it cool. Like being a live show, you are getting us raw. Like this is just who we are.
Yep.
We say stupid things. We lose our train of thoughts. It just happens. You know, we're normal people, but you're getting raw, unfiltered Nick and Harrison.
Yeah. Half my sentences don't even make sense, but you know, it is what it is.
But we work with it.
Right. All right. So all the mushy stuff aside, here we go. Like again, thank you. We're going to move on to the meat of the show. And we were thinking of topics to do. We're like, well, what can we do around 200? And we're like, well, I'm not going to do a top 200 list. First of all, that would take forever. It would take a lot to kind of set up. So then we kind of threw out the idea, how about like our favorite types of duos? So that's what we're going to kind of discuss. And there's a few different categories of duos that we're going to discuss. So here we go. We're going to start with our best teammate duos. So they could be the best, they could be our favorites. So if you're in the chat and you have two players that were on a team that you think were just absolutely dynamic duos, definitely throw it in the chat and we'll throw them in there. Because I'm sure you'll either agree or disagree with some of the ones that we have. But starting off, we have Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus. I mean, these two were just so much fun to watch together on the field. Their antics, like mimicking each other, catching fly balls or ground balls. Andrew's trying to touch Beltre's head all the time. Like, this was just one of the funnest like duos to watch for me.
Yeah, I love the one where like Andrus is like poking at Beltre on the mound during a mound visit. All of a sudden you see Andrus start running and Beltre throws his glove at him.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of a mound visit, these guys are goofing off. There is no better duo. And not only that, but in terms of productivity too. Like they were great together.
Yeah.
But boy, do they keep things light.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Grew up with the Bash Brothers. Yeah, I mean, Bash Brothers, that's a great one. I don't know why we didn't put that one on, but that's a great one. Bash Brothers.
Well, yeah, there's so many great duos, the Bash Brothers, Biggio and Bagwell, that we could have gone for hours listing off some of these duos, but
yeah.
The Bash Brothers, they were a different breed.
Yeah. All right. Our next one, being the Red Sox homers that we are, Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz, their career stats combined, a .299 batting average, 5,710 games played. This is both their careers combined. So not necessarily as a duo, but just their careers combined. 5,046 hits, 1,179 doubles, 1,096 home runs, and 3,599 RBIs. I mean, when these guys were hitting 3-4 in that Red Sox lineup, it was ridiculous. But one of the best duos, I think, period, from each side of the plate too. It was incredible to watch them.
Yeah, it's and not only that, but similar to Andrus and Beltre, like joking around, constantly, the antics and stuff like that on the field. Like they were energetic, they were fun, they performed, they were a disgusting 1-2 combo, righty lefty. Guys that you didn't want to face, but guys that you'd love to hang out with.
Yeah. Evan, that's the funny one.
I love that one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Or Terry Collins in your pick of umpire of the day.
Yeah, that's a great one. Absolutely.
That's the duo we should have done, is the umpire manager combo. Like who's thrown out who the most.
Man. Joe West and everybody.
Yeah. Hunter Wendelstedt and everybody.
Yeah.
Actually, Hunter Wendelstedt and Aaron Boone, most likely.
Oh, for sure. Willie Mays and Willie McCovey. I mean, never got to saw these guys play, obviously, but 286 batting average. Yeah. 5,500 games played, 5,000 hits between them, almost 1,000 home runs, 3,500 RBIs. I mean, I always say that I was born in the wrong era sometimes, because I would have been in baseball heaven to watch these guys play. Roberto Clemente, Ted Williams, all those guys through that stretch. I would have given everything to watch some games with them in it. But
yeah, the 40s, 50s, 60s, like there's so many players that I would have loved to have seen.
Yeah.
I guess forget it, even before that. I would have loved to have seen all these historical players, even back to Ruth and those guys.
Right. Yeah. For me, it's like, were those guys really as good as they say they were? You know what I mean? Like, we have today's players to compare to. Like, how do they actually compare to those guys back then? Like, nobody knows, obviously, but
right.
It'd be so cool to take what I know now and what the, average MLB player looks like now and compare them to those guys in the past. I mean, I'm sure they still look like freaks compared to their other players in the league at the time. But it would have been really cool to go back and see them.
Yeah, there are so many legends of the game that there's, for us, is like even limited footage of them. You know, it's like
Right.
it's one thing to talk about a guy who played 20 years ago. It's one thing to talk about a guy who played 60 or 70 years ago.
Right.
There's not as much footage either. So the few highlights we have of some of these guys, that's all we got.
Yeah. Evan, hang on to this
Yeah.
thought. Hang on to this thought. They will come back.
Yeah, we're getting there.
And then to kind of tie what we were just talking about, Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. I mean, these
numbers are dumb.
I was going to say, like, Manny and Ortiz aside, this might be legit the best duo of all time. I mean, these numbers are incredible. 341 batting average, 4,667 games played, 5,600 hits, really, 1,000 doubles, 1,153 home runs, and then 4,209 RBIs. I mean, that is silly between two guys.
Yeah, those numbers are just dumb.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. The 341 batting average to me is wild.
Video game numbers, swinging telephone poles.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. I can't even imagine what it looked like having those two hit 3-4. Really?
And then think about like that Murderers Row lineup that was scary 1 through 9. I mean, you may not find a better lineup ever than what they pieced together there, and pitchers probably just said a prayer and went out there.
It had to, because
there wasn't much more you could do. You weren't going to get them out.
Yeah, or you're like, hey, Skip, I think my arm's a little tired today. I think I'm going to miss this series.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's all the jokes about the fact that, like, you know, batters would take games off against pitchers like Randy Johnson, which is true. You know, pitchers were trying to take days off against lineups like that.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. This is more kind of like a nostalgic pick, and they were nasty. I mean, two Hall of Famers, Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, combined 298 batting average, 4,726 games played, 5,028 hits, 1,000 doubles, 939 homers, 3,000 RBIs. That Seattle team, I mean, we talk about that Seattle team a lot, and 116 wins, and they didn't win the World Series. Like, that could have been the best team of all time, and they just didn't win. It was tough, but I mean, that team was a lot of fun to watch at that time. It was insane.
Yeah, how they didn't win is beyond me. I'll never understand that. I mean, they had that one playoff run, but it's a shame that a guy like Ken Griffey Jr. just didn't get the shot. But those numbers are crazy. What's even scarier is the fact that when you look at those combos, Babe and Lou Gehrig played the fewest games in total of the whole group, and yet had the most ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah. All right, Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling. These stats are crazy.
Yeah.
1,187 games played, a 519 and 312 win-loss record, barely over the Cy Young win total. Just want to throw that out there. We were talking about that last week. Cy Young with 511. These guys combined barely beat him. 3.38 ERA, 7,991 strikeouts in 7,396 and a third innings pitched. Those strikeout numbers are nuts. I can't even. I can't.
It's almost 10 Ks per 9 over the span of their entire careers.
Yeah.
And I just think back to like that 01 team.
Stupid.
And just how good they were together and how good that 01 team was because of it. But my Lord, I mean, what those guys did back to back, I mean, on their own, ridiculous. But then Curt Schilling comes to Boston and helps break the curse.
Yep.
Like, it was no big deal. Just shows up and goes out there and pitches.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, Kurt Schilling with Randy Johnson or Kurt Schilling with Pedro Martinez? Which duo you taking? I
Oof.
mean, both were pretty filthy.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to pick one of them, I'm gonna take Johnson and Schilling.
Yeah.
As much as I love Pedro, I'm a huge Pedro fan. But Pedro versus Randy Johnson, I think I'm gonna take Randy Johnson on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you too.
Plus the fact that guy just scared the hell out of everybody.
I mean, what, 6'10, 6'11 standing on the mound and throwing absolute gas from that 3/4 angles, like just a wild.
Yeah, and have you seen Randy Johnson's photography?
Yes.
His logo, like the dead bird.
Yeah, it's so great. It's perfect.
Can you imagine like going to a game and seeing that guy like on a sideline?
No.
Taking pictures.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. John agrees with us, Schilling in the unit.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Hard to argue.
All right. And then with Evan, you're like, John, you like must have our slideshow or something, because definitely Maddox and Glavine on the pitching side and on the offensive side, really, to be honest.
I mean, chick stick the long ball.
That's right. Best baseball commercial ever.
Fantastic.
1,426 games played, 660 and a 430 win-loss record, 3.35 ERA. You know, obviously not big strikeout numbers because they were contact guys, but 5,978 Ks and 9,421 and 2/3 innings pitched. I mean, that's a boatload of innings between two guys. And just masters at their craft. Yeah, insane to watch.
That's so many innings. You know, it's what, 2,000 more innings than Johnson and Schilling.
Yeah.
But these guys were so maddening. Like Tom Glavine's fastball probably wouldn't break glass, but you couldn't hit it.
Right.
You know, location was so good. The changeup was so good. Maddox was he was the professor out there. These two. And then the fact that they were like cool guys, did fun commercials, had a good time out there. But on game day, you didn't want as scary as these guys weren't, you still did not want to face them.
No. And I think, Glavine just had to get past the first inning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the case with a lot of pitchers, really. Even for me growing up, I know I've never pitched at that level. Don't get me wrong. But once you got the first inning behind you, you're like, all right, you can settle in. But
if you were going to get Glavine or Maddox for that matter, it had to be early. Because once they settled in and found what was working, you were done.
Yeah, absolutely. And having TBS be nationally broadcasted, we got to see these guys all the time, and it was absolutely incredible because those Braves teams of the '90s were awesome.
And how they didn't win more, another team that makes you scratch your head. Yeah. I mean, I look at the '90s Mariners, the '90s Braves, the '90s Indians. Like, how did these teams not win?
No. The Yankees.
I mean, the Yankees weren't that good. They just, in the playoffs, got it done.
Yeah, knew how to win. All right.
I will say that the Braves of the '90s, that was like the vanilla pudding of baseball. Like the ballpark was boring. The announcers were dry as hell. It was just like, and strike three, moving on, you know, and then go to the commercial break. Like there was no personality, no flair. The ballpark was boring. It was like the most like professional, boring presentation, but they were so good.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Bobby Cox's fault.
I mean, there's a lot of people that say as much love as there is for Bobby Cox, it isn't deserved because he wasn't a great manager.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. And you're right. Yeah. Everyone your age is Braves fans because of TV. Yeah, agree. And like I've said it before on this podcast, like I had WGN and TBS. So like I would come home and watch the Cubs because they weren't even playing night games at that point. And I'd watch the Cubs in the afternoon. That game gets over and the Braves were on at 7. So it was awesome. It was baseball on my TV as soon as I got home from school every afternoon. And you got to see a lot of Cubs and Braves games. And that's where like a lot of fans in the Northeast or all over the country really got to watch them because they were on national TV.
I mean, I watched so many Braves games. It wasn't even funny. And quite a few Cubs games. But like, I didn't see any of the West Coast teams because just you couldn't get them.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even watch the Red Sox growing up because you didn't get NESN on your basic cable package, but you got TBS and you got WGN. So like I love the Braves and the Cubs. Like
They weren't
growing up.
even on Nesson back then. They were on WSBK, channel 38.
Yeah, I don't even
The
know what you
game
said,
is
but
on TV 38.
I don't even remember that. So
On WSBK before Nesson
yeah,
existed.
yeah. So crazy. All right, we're gonna move on to best double play combos. Again, might have left some off, might have not. But here we go. We're gonna start right off with Omar Vizquel and Roberto Alomar.
The most obvious one, like absolute like wizardry with gloves.
21 gold gloves, and it was 11 for Vizquel, 10 for Alomar. And watching these guys up the middle with that Indians team was just must see TV every day. It was insane up the middle.
And yet Vizquel's not a Hall of Famer. I wonder why.
Don't even get us started on the Hall of Fame talk
Yeah,
right now.
we won't do a Hall of Fame rant on the two on the show. We promise. We'll hold
Yeah.
that for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Being born in Hawaii, Braves was
Wow.
the only baseball you could see. Wow. Crazy.
I mean, yeah, because what
That's
market
cool.
are you in? You're not really in anybody's market. So yeah,
Well,
you got to go with nationally televised.
Yeah. But yeah, Omar Vizquel, Roberto Alomar. I mean, again, think Vizquel should be in the Hall of Fame for defense alone. There's guys in there, but whatever. But definitely one of the best, if not the best, double play combo in history.
Yeah, I mean, just I would just sit there and watch a highlight reel of their defensive plays
Yeah,
because they were so
sure.
good.
Yeah.
The glove flips, the backhands, the no glove transfers, like just ridiculous what these guys could do.
And just how fast their hands were. Like, you have a great middle infielder like Vizquel when you can't see the ball change direction. Like, you don't know how the ball changed direction. You just see the ball change direction, but you don't know how. And his hands were are still lightning quick. Like, I don't know if you've seen, there's viral videos going around with him with like the fingerless mitts, and it's just like bang, and it's in his throwing hand, and you're like, wait, what? Like, how did he just do that? And it translated on the field. It was absolutely insane to watch.
Yeah, you'd see the ball go to one of them, and all of a sudden it's coming out, and you have no idea how it got there. Like, how did it go from glove to hand? Like, how did the throw even happen? They were just so fast.
Yeah.
And John, this is a great point, and a point we made a couple shows ago when talking about the Hall of Fame. Vizquel's he's almost a 3,000 hits guy. I mean, there's a very compelling case for Vizquel to be in the Hall of Fame. Defense alone probably should get him there.
Yeah. And he's better than Smith in almost all the offensive categories. I think we broke it down too. But
yeah, I mean, part of that's longevity, but still, numbers are the numbers.
Yeah. Jackie Robinson. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I said this is a good one, Evan. We didn't put Tinkers to Evers in here because they're so old. But obviously, Tinkers to Evers to Chance is the first really famous one because of that. Was it a poem or a song?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll find it.
But all right, Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Reese. This is more of a historical pairing, and that goes beyond baseball. But I mean, we all know the story of Jackie Robinson and Pee Wee Reese being a big reason, why Robinson was able to come up and make the impact he did to change the game. And it helps they were both Hall of Fame caliber players. So, I mean, just one of the best double play tandems. And historically, we all know why. So
yeah, and I think you nailed it. This one was bigger than baseball. This was transformational to baseball because Pee Wee Reese embraced Jackie before most people were even willing to consider it, and that broke down some barriers, especially within that team, but also across the league quickly when other players saw the fact like, hey, this is okay.
Yeah, and the dude can play. I mean,
he's pretty
Robinson
good too.
Can play, yeah, for sure.
It doesn't hurt that he was a good ball player, and it was not. Everybody thought it was just some sort of like publicity stunt, but he was actually a good ball player.
Yeah. Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker. Seems like you mentioned double plays. These two come up, and for a great reason. 7 gold gloves. They have an MLB record over 1,100 double plays turned as a tandem. Absolutely wild. Again, I'm at the age where I never really got to see these guys play, but from everybody that I've talked to that was alive to watch them, they just said that they were absolutely dynamic up the middle. And when you play together with someone for that long, like you can't help but have that chemistry and that fluidity between the two.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard because like they're peak Alan Trammell, like we were in diapers.
Right.
He didn't retire till the mid '90s, but he was a shell of himself for the last 4 or 5 years of his career. So you didn't get to see like who he was.
Right.
And another one of those players that, like, thankfully there's plenty of highlights and video of him so we can see him, but it is a shame to not have gotten to see some of these guys.
Yeah. And, there's a case to be made that Lou Whitaker should be in the Hall of Fame as well. Like he's one of those ultimate borderline guys that, his defense should and could have put him there and just kind of didn't. But it's a shame. But yeah, Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker.
Great combo. And that 1,100 double plays, that is so many double plays.
It's wild.
That is, I mean, MLB record, obviously, as it says there, but just like the sheer number. I mean, like if you asked me what the record for number of double plays turned was in a career, I would probably guess half of that. That's just so many.
Yeah. Well, as a tandem too, like, you didn't have.
Yeah, good point.
Right. Like they were both durable enough to turn that many together. Like that's insane in itself. And no one got traded. No one got dealt. No one signed free agency. Like they were there. That's just as impressive.
Yeah. Bananas.
Yeah. All right. Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley. For us, this is more kind of like our peak watching baseball here, like our peak age, I would say. Yeah. 4 Gold Gloves, all by Rollins. I mean, Utley didn't really have great, but it was the sticks with these guys, really. So August of 2005, Rollins began an eventual 38-game hit streak, which he ended in April of the following year. Utley then followed it up in June, started a 35-game hit streak. So they had back-to-back 35-plus game hit streaks pretty much in that time. And just watching them up the middle too, and their offense. And that Phillies team was fun to watch as well. So they're, I would say, more of like a favorite tandem more than the best tandem.
Yeah, and Rollins was very good defensively. Obviously, 4 Gold Gloves is nothing to sneeze at. Chase Utley was an underrated defender, but what these guys did at the plate for middle infielders at the time,
right,
those were not premium offensive positions. These guys did both.
Yeah,
and were really the glue of that organization as it made its World Series run.
Yeah, agree. Joe Morgan and Dave Concepcion. 10 Gold Gloves, 5 each. Again, out of my time frame, so I don't know much about these guys personally, but every list I researched, these guys were in the top 5. And I mean, we all kind of know the player Joe Morgan was. Like I obviously have heard of Concepcion, but I don't know in depth what kind of this career this guy had until I started looking at the numbers. And I was like, he was a pretty damn good middle infielder and baseball player as well. But yeah, this tandem up the middle must have been something to see. And obviously the Big Red Machine. I mean, everybody on that team was potential Hall of Famers. So
yeah. And I think that I think anybody in that era, I mean, the Big Red Machine, whether you're a fan of them or not, like everybody knows the stories, the players.
Yeah,
they were something to be seen.
Yeah. Again, born in the wrong era, so I couldn't see him.
Yeah, right. We watch highlights, and R.I.P. Joe Morgan, but also just a guy who ended up being a tremendous ambassador for the game, announcer. He was deep in the Hall of Fame, big supporter of Pete Rose. Joe Morgan as a player is one thing, but as an overall baseball guy was incredibly influential to baseball.
Yes.
Through to his death.
Absolutely. Again, obviously before our time, these two show up on every single list I looked at. Luis Aparicio and Nellie Fox for the White Sox. They led the league in double plays, turned 4 times in their years together. There was no Gold Glove awards back then, obviously, but they were both considered the smoothest and best fielders of their time. Both Hall of Famers. So having a Hall of Fame tandem up the middle will definitely help your team for sure.
Yeah, it's funny to think there's no Gold Glove award. You know,
Right.
we're going that far back before
Yeah.
that was a thing.
Yeah. But
these are two guys that would have probably won a bunch of them.
oh yeah, easily.
The numbers are staggering.
Okay. Yep. All right. Best or our favorite battery mates of all time. Jamie Moyer played with both those guys and had great stories about them.
J- Jamie Moyer was around forever and probably played with everybody.
Yeah.
And the best part about it was at the beginning of his career and the end of his career, his fastball still didn't break 85.
No. Absolutely insane. That's funny. All right. So our best or favorite battery mates. Here we go. Tim Lincecum and Buster Posey. Kind of a short-lived tandem here because of all the the history with Lincecum. But when these two were together, they were lights out. I mean, apparently they had a little bit of beef off the field, but when they were on the field, they dropped it and they were dominant. Back-to-back seasons with no hitters for Lincecum against the Padres. And Lincecum does credit Posey with much of the success he had. Although, I say Lincecum was pretty nasty in his own right.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years, and he had 110 wins in his 10-year career. A guy at his peak that was just unhittable. Just so good. But unfortunately, a short career. I mean, he only made 270 career starts.
Yeah, that hurts.
But yeah, and he and Posey had a weird relationship, but they are both incredibly complimentary of each other and work together so unbelievably well.
Yeah. Jamie Moyer played with Moses. Okay, it's a good duo.
Yeah, could you imagine Moses behind the plate?
Yeah, and then Wilson, the big unit, or Wilson and Felix. Yeah, those are good ones.
That's Dan Wilson caught a lot of games from those guys.
Yeah. All right. Again, another homer pick, but Tim Wakefield and Doug Mirabelli.
There was only one catcher for Wake, and it was Mirabelli.
Yeah. I mean, we all saw what happened when Varitek tried to catch Wakefield. It was an absolute disaster. And Varitek's my favorite player of all time. He just could not catch Wakefield to save his soul. It was tough to watch. And then one of my favorite memories as a Red Sox fan is seeing Mirabelli come in on the golf cart from the center field green gate. And he got a police escort from the airport after he got traded to get him to the game on time. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, this Mirabelli had to catch Wakefield. That was that.
Well, and I mean, Doug Mirabelli might be the only backup catcher in baseball history to ever get a standing ovation from getting traded back to a team. Because he came through that gate and the whole stadium went crazy. But what's interesting is that, Doug Mirabelli's career was extended because of Tim Wakefield. Without Wake, Mirabelli would have been out of baseball. And without Mirabelli, Wakefield would have been a tough pitcher for the Red Sox to keep because it was, if you can't catch the knuckleball, you can't really throw the guy. So really the two of them became this duo, this package duo that they kind of had to have together. But what told me most with this relationship was when they did that Red Sox special on Netflix and they asked Mirabelli about his relationship with Wakefield, he couldn't answer the question. He broke down in tears shortly after Wake's death. Like he could not answer the question because the relationship those two guys had was so close.
Yeah.
That just being able to answer the question of what did he mean to you after his death, Mirabelli could not spit out words through the tears because that was how important that relationship was.
I mean, that's a pretty mean ass question to ask at that time too. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say it's insensitive, but it's borderline. Like, dude, obviously they had a good relationship. You could see it on the field.
Yeah.
Like it was obvious to even non-Red Sox fans.
Yeah. Like, I think the closeness of those two, I think it was not about baseball. They were much more than just teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. Then obviously we're going to stay in Boston. Pedro Martinez, Jason Varitek.
Hard one to argue.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I mean, it's Pedro Martinez, but I think Veritek's handle on the game and the pitching staff is very underrated league wide.
Yep.
And how he handled everybody was something that catchers at that time, I'm sure some of them did, and you had some great ones. But being able to watch him day in and day out handle this pitching staff the way he did was incredible. And again, a little biased because Veritek's my favorite player of all time. And it helps you have Pedro Martinez on the other side. But I think that's what made that duo so great, is they were both incredible.
Yep.
Nice.
Crash Davis and Nuke Lelouch.
Yep.
That is a great combo. I mean, yeah, and Pedro is Pedro. Pedro could pitch to anybody and look great, but the way Varitek controlled the game, defended his guys, worked with umpires, Varitek was in a league of his own in terms of how he controlled a game, how he worked the umpires, how he worked the players. He knew exactly what buttons to push and when to do it. And that's why he was so respected by his teammates and is still so respected around the league. And that's why he's, we're probably going to see him as a coach or manager here soon, because he was that in tune with the game.
Well, I mean, he's in the dugout. I don't know what its exact role
I'm
is
not sure
on the
what
team,
his title is.
Yeah. This is a great one too. Greg Maddux and Eddie Perez. Yeah. I almost put Eddie Perez in there. He was Maddox's catcher there. There was a reason why Maddux didn't like throwing to Javi Lopez, and I can't remember exactly why, but there's another viral clip going around about Eddie Perez never called Greg Maddox's game. Greg Maddux called his own game by how he caught the ball coming back from Perez. Like, it was something like if he caught it close to his chest and down low, it was a fastball. If he caught it and flipped it to his pitching hand, it was a curveball. If he took his hat off and wiped his cheek, it was like a changeup. It's insane.
The nose wipe was a curveball. If he caught it close to his body, it was a changeup. Out in front was a fastball.
Yeah.
And then how he caught it determined what location it was, but he called his own pitches based on how he received the ball back from Eddie Perez. And my understanding is Maddux liked to pitch to Perez for two reasons. One, Eddie let him call the game, which Javi wouldn't. And two, Eddie Perez was a better framer than Javi Lopez was. And that was really important to Maddux, who lived on the corners.
Yeah. Maddux could have pitched to anyone, really. It wouldn't have mattered. But
that's the thing. I mean, Maddux, like Pedro, could have thrown to nobody and it would have been fine.
Right. All right. Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina. I mean, these guys were just consistent their whole career. They pretty much came up together. They finished together. 325 starts together. That's an MLB record. 212 wins in their starts together. That's also a Major League Baseball record. 213 wins together. So Wainwright had one bullpen appearance where he got the win and Yadi was catching. But I mean, talk about a consistent pairing for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, those two were attached forever. I mean, that's Wainwright's whole career.
Yeah. And Yadi's. So,
yep.
Crazy.
And Yadi, another guy like Varitek, who just controlled it all. Yeah, he knew how to work the pitchers. He knew how to work umpires. He defended his guys. Yadi was the first guy to stand up and talk to a batter. Did not have any fear of protecting his guys.
No, absolutely not. This one hurts a little bit as Red Sox fans, but kind of can't deny it. Andy Pettitte and Jorge Posada, part of the core four there. They were a staple of the Yankees teams, those successful Yankees teams. 4 World Series in 5 years, 7 AL pennants with both of them. I mean, yikes. That's all I got. Yikes.
I mean, yeah, the results speak for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And in the playoffs, you did not want to face Pettitte, and you did not want to see Posada coming to the plate late in the game because they just had a way of coming through when you needed them.
Yeah, I mean that jam fish shot off, Pedro still haunts us to this day.
Oh, yeah,
but
brutal, yeah, brutal. But that's what those Yankees teams did. Yeah. They wore you down.
always found a way to win. And it helps when you got a guy like Pettit on the mound too.
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt.
No. All right. And back to Evan's point, he's brought it up. I told him to hold the thought. We got Steve Carlton and Tim McCarver. In one stretch of their careers, McCarver caught 90 straight starts from Carlton, compiling a 48-26 record. Overall, Carlton was 81-45 with McCarver behind the dish. Pretty dang good.
I mean, what's a shame is Carlton's record. His stuff was so much better than that record, but the team wasn't good.
Yeah.
So that's what you got.
Yeah.
But what an incredible combo! Like again, like two players whose names are almost constantly linked.
Yeah. Thank you, Dork. Appreciate it.
I feel
I
don't like calling him Dork. Like I feel like
I know Forrest. It's weird.
Hey, Dork.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. But anyways, well, thank you, Forrest, and you guys will see Forrest on here in the near future, hopefully. So, I can't wait for that to get going. But appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Whitey Ford and Yogi Berra. Again, obviously before our time, but Yankees pitchers, and Yogi Berra was such a staple behind the plate for such a long time. Berra caught 212 of his starts. 24 of them were shutouts.
Yeah. What was the stat you had last week in terms of how many double headers he caught? Both
145 double headers. Both games of doubleheader.
Yogi Berra didn't miss games. That guy played every day, twice if he needed to.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, another combo I wish I could have seen in my days for sure.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like what might be more legendary than his play were all of his sayings.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's getting late early out here.
Yeah, tell the chef to cut my pizza into 6 slices. I can't eat 8.
Yep.
Come to a fork in the road, take it.
Catching a no-hitter is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I've done it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look at that. Amazing. Look at that 24 shutouts.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's a lot of shutouts.
Yeah. All right. Best coaching / manager duos. Here we go. There's not a ton of these, but the ones I picked, I feel pretty confident about.
Yeah, we thought of some others and we're like, they're not really like notable. Maybe they were together for a while, but there's a few that stick out.
Yeah. Back to the Yankees. I mean, come on. Joe Torre, Mel Stoudemire, 12 years, 96 to 07, 1,173 wins, 767 losses, 6 pennants, 4 World Series titles. That's, I mean, again, speaks for itself.
Is that good? Like, is that a good record?
Last time I checked, it's all right.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah. And Torrey was only asleep for, I think, half of them. So.
Yeah. Well, and the hard part, too, is 6 pennants, 4 World Series titles means they lost twice. One of those was the crushing 0-1 defeat.
Yeah.
And then 0-3 to the Marlins.
Right.
Another crushing defeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Right on cue, Forrest.
We're there with you, Forrest.
Bobby Cox and Leo Mazzoni. I mean, again, growing up, watching these guys every day, this was the pose I always remember Leo Mazzoni being in. And Bobby Cox, for that matter.
Yep.
Both of them would just sit there and just, yep.
Mazzoni would rock. He'd rock when things got tight. He'd sit there and he'd rock.
Yep. But 24 years together, all with the Braves. Bobby Cox did have like a little gap where he went to, I think it was the Blue Jays for a few years and then came back to the Braves. 2,149 wins, 1,709 win-loss record, 5 pennants, 1 World Series. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
man could not sit still.
The 5 pennants and only winning once, I know we've already kind of talked about it. That was the tough thing about this Braves team.
Sad.
They were so good, just could not get over the hump to win.
Nope.
But yeah, I think I looked. Bobby Cox's career ejections. I think he leads, I think, with 162, I believe.
Yes.
He's been ejected out of a full season of Major League games.
Yeah, and he leads by quite a few. Like he's got like a 30 or 40 game lead over whoever's in second place. Like it's not close.
Yeah, Aaron Boone probably at this point.
Aaron Boone's climbing up that list. He'll get there soon.
Yeah. But I mean, when I think of managers, coaches, it's these two, and it's no one else really.
Yeah.
Just because I saw them all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean, between being on TBS and all those nationally televised games, all the success they had, and just the sheer amount of time they spent together. Like at what point? I mean, that 24 years. I mean, how do you still get along with each other after 24 years of being in that dugout together?
They probably don't even talk to each other. They're just like pass each other in the hallway. They're like, Leo, Bobby. You know, like that's it.
Well, after that time, you probably don't have to talk. It's like, yep, we know the game plan. We've done this before.
Right. Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah. Just let that starting staff go out and do whatever the hell they want because we don't have to coach them.
It helped they had good teams for a good chunk of it.
Yeah. AJ Hinch and Alex Cora voted fan favorites for their playoff run in 2007.
Impressive.
Nah, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to bring that up, but I had to.
Two guys who are currently managing, who got 1-year bans. I know. I still feel like these guys shouldn't be in baseball, but I get it.
I'm with you, and you know, one of them is our Red Sox manager, and we have been, you know, honest on the show and said that he shouldn't be our manager. He shouldn't be in baseball. But I digress.
Yep. I feel like what those guys did is far worse than many things that could have been done, and 1 year was not enough. But
yep, agree. All right, Harrison.
Oh boy.
MLB 200s based trivia. So 200 is going to be linked in the question or the answer somehow. So here we go.
All right.
Who was the first player to reach the 200 home run club?
Well, given the era, it's got to be Babe Ruth.
Yes, absolutely. May 12th, 1923, he hit his 200th home run to be the first member of the 200 home run club.
I mean, I have to imagine he created the 200 club, 300 club, 400 club, 500 club, 600 club, 700 club, and then just let other people join.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see if like a guy like Jimmy Fox didn't like surpass him at one point and then Babe Ruth caught up to him again. You know, like I don't know. I don't know if he created every single club or if somebody, you know, is kind of jockeying back and forth there.
That's a good point. He wasn't necessarily alone in that time frame.
Yeah. All right. Next one. Name the 5 players to have exactly 200 pitching wins. 4 of these guys are modern day, and one of these guys had a unique last name that was on our all-time career strikeout leaders by last name that started with a U.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. Exactly 200 wins. So I'm pretty sure Wainwright had exactly 200 wins. I'm pretty sure his last start he got his 200th win.
Yep.
So Waino, who are the guys that finished around 200? Pedro had more than 200.
Stay on that team, and we've talked about him tonight.
Oh, Wakefield?
Wakefield is exactly 200.
Okay.
Another guy that was a – oh, go ahead.
No. What were you going to say?
Another guy that was a Red Sox but went to the Cubs after.
Oh, Lester?
Lester, exactly 200.
Interesting.
And then a lefty for – oh, go ahead. Take a guess.
Oh, so what about a guy like Abbott?
No, but you're on the right track. Stay lefty and on the Angels.
lefty on the Angels.
Pretty well known guy in the 90s.
Like but not like a. I'm trying to think. Kenny Rogers, was he an Angel?
That's not Rogers.
Oh,
Tall.
Finley.
Yeah, Chuck Finley. Good. Yep.
So does that leave me just the weird last name?
Yeah. And it was the U. You probably don't even remember. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, Chuck Finley. Good. Yeah, you guys
nice.
got it in the chat. Nice. And the fifth one,
Langston's the other guy I was thinking of. They couldn't get his name out.
Yeah, Langston. That's a good guess. Nope, but it was Finley. Nice. And the last guy is George Yule.
Oh, I remember the name now.
Or Yule. I don't know. UHLE. But yeah, that was 200 career wins.
Wow. I mean 200 exactly is pretty it's hard hitting exact number with all those starts.
Right. Absolutely. All right.
Good for Wake.
Next. Yeah, absolutely. All right, next one. Before Luis Arraez in 2024, who was the most recent player to get exactly 200 hits in a season, happening in 2015?
2015. Who's a big hits guy in 2015? So think batting titles too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Altuve?
It is Altuve. Yes. Good. Yep. Jose Altuve. Exactly 200 hits.
Wow.
Nice. All right. Next one. Hitting above or below 200 is also known as hitting above and below what line?
It is the Mendoza line.
It is the Mendoza line. That's a slam dunk. Everybody in baseball knows what that one is.
Yep.
Yep, the Mendoza line. Good. All right. What Hall of Fame player for the Dodgers ended his career with exactly 200 career steals?
200 steals. Hall of Famers. That takes out a guy like Kemp. Is it modern or are we going back?
Going back a little bit.
Okay.
Again, we've talked about him already on the show.
For Dodgers. Oh, is it Jackie?
It is Jackie. Yeah, Jackie Robinson.
I would have just assumed he had more than 200.
I did too. I was shocked. I had to like double and triple check it. I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
But
John, it's not the Mendoza line anymore. It's now the Mariners line.
Yeah, that's funny. That's hilarious. All right. Here we go. What first generation big leaguer ended his career at exactly 200 career steals while his son had 184 career steals?
So let's think multi-generations. You got the McRae's. You've got Bichette. Clearly not Biggio because he hasn't played. Guerrero, not a steals guy. Not a career over either. Oh, is it Griffey?
It is Griffey. Yeah, Ken Griffey Sr. I was shocked that Junior only had 184.
Yeah, I would have thought Junior had more, but as I'm going down the list of multi-generation, there's only so many.
not Cecil Fielder.
Notice I didn't mention him. He was only stealing second base if it was a pizza box.
Yeah. I mean, on the list, he might be in the top 20, but only because there's been 20 multi-generational. Boone's a good
one, John. I didn't even think of Boone.
Yeah, that's a great one. But yeah, Evan, nice job. Griffey. Yep, Griffey Sr. Nice. All right. Back to give me 5 here. There are 5 players that finished their careers with more than 3,000 hits, but none of them posted a 200 hit season. Who are they?
Boy. 3,000 hits. So let's just think about 3,000 hits players.
So the colors here should give you one.
Oh, it's greens. Was it Ricky?
It is Ricky. Yep.
He's the answer to like every question we have.
Yep.
All right. So Ricky's one. Say Rose had 200 hit seasons. You had Jeter had 200 hit seasons. That's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Think all-time Red Sox great.
We had a guess of Winfield. Is Winfield one of them?
Winfield is one of them. Nice.
Nice job, Brandon. Ted Williams in the chat?
Nope, not Ted, but the other really damn good hitter. Yes. Eddie Murray is one. Nice, Brandon.
Nice job, Brandon. Brandon's got two.
Yep. So we got Yaz, Eddie Murray, Dave Winfield, Ricky Henderson. And now this one you have to go back 1871 to 1897. But you have heard this name before, for sure. I know you have.
That's even before like Cobb's time. So it's just like Knapp or
it's not Knapp, but it rhymes with Knapp.
Oh, is it Cap?
Yeah,
Cap Anson.
It is Cap Anson. Nice.
Going way back.
Way back.
Jamie Moyer. Great guess, because he probably was playing back in 1870.
Yeah. Oh my God, man. Crushing it tonight, Brandon. Crushing it. Love it.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I would have thought Ricky would have snuck a 200 hit season in there somewhere, but he walked too much, I think.
He did. And Yaz too, with all the hits Yaz had.
Yeah. But I mean, great hitters on that. I mean, I don't know crap about Cap Anson. Just a little bit before my time, or all of our times, I would say. But
Eddie Murray, Dave Winfield, like incredibly good hitters. Like you look at these guys and go, really? Not a single 200 hit season?
Yeah.
Wow. Surprising.
Yep. All right. Who's the only player with 10 consecutive seasons of 200 plus hits?
Oh, Lord. I mean, I'm guessing by the colors, that's got to be Ichiro.
Yes. Yep. Ichiro. So Ichiro from age 27 to 36. Pete Rose is the only other player with 10 200 hit seasons. They just weren't consecutive.
Because he would have been my next guess.
Yeah. I mean, naturally.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy.
Yeah, Ichiro's pretty good. And like half of those were infield singles.
Yeah. All right. 3 teams stole over 200 bases each in 2024. All 3 in the National League. Which 3 teams were they? 1 in the NL East, 2 NL Central.
Well, the Reds have to be one of them because Ellie stole like 70 by himself.
It is the Reds.
In the Central. The Cubs don't steal bases.
Nope.
Pirates don't steal bases. Brewers?
Yep. Yeah, because Terang, was it Terang or had a ton?
They had a couple guys with a bunch. And then if Yelich is healthy, he steals a bunch too.
Yeah.
And then in the NL East,
this one might shock you a little bit. It is Washington.
Oh, nice,
John.
Yeah, the Braves and Mets don't run much. That Washington team is young and they do have some speed. It makes sense.
Yeah. Nice job. Nice work.
Forrest, I'm shocked it wasn't Cobb.
Yeah. He must have had a 200 hit season somewhere in there then.
He probably had a bunch of them.
Yeah. All right. Nope, those are the answers. Yeah, 223 for the Nationals. They led the MLB.
Nationals led. Wow.
Yeah. But all right. Who was the first left-handed pitcher to achieve 200 plus strikeouts in a single season for the Atlanta Braves?
Well, so it wasn't Glavine, wasn't Avery. Smoltz right-handed. Oh, is this a trick question? Is this like Chris Sale last year?
It is Chris Sale last year, yeah. Chris Sale in 2024. Yeah.
I'm like starting to go back in history. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will guess Born Spawn, but which would be a solid guess. But
Yep.
no, Chris Sale, 2024.
I mean, he's the first. That's amazing.
Yeah,
With all the talented pitchers they've had.
right. Oh, John got it. Sale, nice.
Nice.
All right. This is 2 trivia. So 5 players in Major League history has had their number 2 jersey retired by their team. Who are they?
Oh boy. I mean, the one is obvious, Jeter for the Yankees.
Yep, Jeter.
2's not a super common number.
No. Think longtime Dodgers manager.
Lasorda?
Lasorda is one.
Huh.
We talked about another guy as a double play combo for the White Sox.
So it's so Fox.
Yep, Nelly Fox. And then we got 1945 to 1963, mostly for St. Louis, Hall of Famer.
The only person I can think of from that era, but it's not the right years, is Musial.
Yeah, not Musial.
That's not Lou Brock's era. Boy, I have no idea.
His first name is a color.
Red?
Yep. Red Schoenweis.
Oh, okay. Name I've heard, but I would not have placed him.
Yep. And then the other guy is also 1924, 1942, all for Detroit. You've definitely heard.
You got Forrest give me hints. I love it.
His name is a color. Yep. Nice. And this guy you've definitely heard of before as well. He's also a Hall of Famer, MVP, 6-time All-Star, batting title, second baseman. Like I said, 24 to 42, all with Detroit.
Oh boy.
But this one's a tough name to pull too, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get that one.
It is Charlie Gehringer.
Oh yes, a name I've heard, but we could have sat here all night. I wasn't gonna guess him.
Yeah. So Charlie Gehringer. Those are the number 2s that are retired across the league. Nice. All right.
Not a very common number anymore.
No. Well, yeah. All right. So to kind of pay homage to the different types of trivia that we've had on our show throughout the years, I have chosen one question from each type of trivia during our 200 shows. So I will show you. The first one is going to be our MLB picture puzzle.
These are fun.
Okay. Here is your MLB picture puzzle. Who is this?
All right, so that's a woman scratching her arm. There's an ear, somebody rowing, and a car.
So she's not.
Is this Ichiro Suzuki?
Yep.
I saw the car. I'm like, oh, it's a Suzuki. Oh, I get it.
Yes, Ichiro Suzuki. Nice job. Yeah, good one. All right. Next one is, where did they go to college?
Oof, is that the Monk?
It is the new St. Joseph's College Monk. This is where Harrison and I met at college right here. So where did they go to college? Here we go. Michael Conforto, Stephen Kwan, Jacoby Ellsbury, Cam Boozer, Nick Madrigal, Adley Rushman.
Huh. So I only know this because I remember Jacoby Ellsbury was either Oregon or Oregon State. I think it was Oregon State.
You are correct. Nice job. The Beavis of Oregon State.
Because I remember when Jacoby Ellsbury got drafted, I'm like, Oregon State, like that's a baseball school,
Right?
isn't
Yeah.
that where Bazana came from too? Now,
Yes, I believe so. And yeah, I only know because of Rushman.
yeah, I honestly wouldn't have been able to tell you where he went to school, but I remember Ellsbury for some reason.
Yeah, good. Man, chat's killing it tonight, man. They're all over this trivia.
Yeah, I feel like I'm racing chat tonight to get questions right because they're killing it.
There's crap. All right. MLB blurred picture trivia. It's not blurred because Canva was being done. So it's a simple who is this MLB player? Okay.
Okay.
Played from 92 to 01 with the Giants, Marlins, Giants again, Royals, Red Sox, Orioles, and Angels. Pitcher who compiled a 70 and 91 win-loss record in his career, 4.68 ERA, 259 games, 239 of them started, 5 career shutouts, no All-Stars, no Cy Young votes. Who is this?
Oh. So thanks for giving me the most obscure guy where he's not blurred. It's a little bit easier. That's I remember for the Red Sox, he had the really weird delivery. He threw like way across his body. He had the slow leg kick, dropped his leg, threw way across his body. Oh my goodness, I saw him pitching at Fenway. Pat Rapp.
It is Pat Rapp. Nice. Good.
Yeah, watching him pitch was frustrating.
Yeah, without it blurred, it's a little bit easier, but I was like, maybe he's obscure enough where Harrison will have a
I honestly only remember because I saw him pitch and his delivery drove me crazy. He threw everything low and away because he threw across his body and couldn't throw it anywhere else.
Yeah. All right. MLB players and their last names in common. So I'll give you 3 players. You have to tell me what their last name is in common.
Okay.
Here we go. Right fielder for the Pirates from 14 to 21 with a career 241 average. Second player, current middle infielder who spent his first 10 years with the Twins and then went to the Mariners in 2024. Third player, former utility infielder from 98 to 13 with all-star appearances for the Tigers in 07 and the Phillies in 11 with a 297 career batting average. What is their last name in common?
Tigers in 07, Phillies in 11, middle infielder, the Twins. So where's John on this one? I'm pretty sure the middle infielder, that's Jorge Polanco, right?
Yep.
So it's Polanco.
It's Polanco.
Jorge Polanco. Is it Placido Polanco at the bottom?
Yeah, it's Placido Polanco.
And I have no idea who the Pirates player is. I'm completely drawn a blank. John Polanco, our new third baseman.
Yes, it is. Gregory Polanco.
Gregory.
Yeah, he was supposed to be like one of the up-and-coming Pirates stars that just kind of snuffed out and didn't do what they expected. But yeah.
Seems to be their MO.
Yeah, Gregory, Jorge, and Placido Polanco. All right. Missing lineup trivia. One of our favorite ones to do just to torture the other host trying to guess. That's
These are a lot of fun. Some of them are really friggin' hard though.
So here we go. Who's missing from the 2003 Boston Red Sox opening day lineup? I need the DH.
Ooh. 03. This was when they were experimenting with a bunch of guys too, so it wasn't like one guy consistently. It was a bunch of guys. 03.
I'm not giving you any hints on this one.
Yeah, so you got Nixon, Damon, Manny, Shays at third. That's right, Todd Walker at second. 03. So where's Billy Miller?
Nope, didn't start opening day.
Huh.
It's a
Yeah,
good guess, John. He just said, yeah.
I'm with you, John. I was like, where's Bill Miller at in 03? They did for a while have the other Giambi. Is it Jeremy Giambi?
It is Jeremy Giambi.
Yeah, they did that
Yes.
whole OBP thing for a little while. And I remember
Yeah.
they brought him in. It did not work out well.
Oh, Euclid is a good guess
Oh,
too.
that is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
a good
yeah,
guess too.
yeah, Jeremy Giambi. So yeah, crazy.
Yeah, an unremarkable career.
Yep.
But in 02, 03, they're playing that like Moneyball game of like, let's find high OBP guys, see what happens. They never worked out.
No. All right. Fill in the blank. Here we go.
Oh boy.
In April of 2009, blank hit his 300th career home run, and then next batter up, blank came up and hit his 300th career home run, hitting back-to-back 300th home runs.
Oh, this was the White Sox. Who the hell was it though? It was Konerko was one of them.
Yep.
I cannot remember who the other one is. It wasn't Quentin. It wasn't. So go around that lineup. They had Pasednik, Quentin.
Stay in the outfield there.
Ah, man. Who was the other? Who were the other outfielders with power?
We have talked. He's a pretty underrated player, but was pretty dang good during that time. He came up with the Braves and then went to the White Sox.
He came up with the Braves.
He did. Yes, John. Got it.
Because the only other guy I was thinking of was Jermaine Dye, but did he come up with the Royals?
No, I think he went to the Royals after the I don't know what actually his career path was. I know he came up with a Braves because I remember watching his debut in Atlanta. But yeah, Jermaine Dye hit. That's crazy. They both hit 300th career home runs back to back.
Oh yeah,
insane.
He came up with Atlanta, played one season there, then he was in Kansas City for 5, and then in Oakland, and then Chicago. Okay.
So yeah, crazy. Nice work in the chat, fellas.
Yeah, chat's killing it tonight.
Nice job, man. All right, we are on to. Oh, sorry, that's the answer. Jermaine Dye, Paul Konerko, asleep at the wheel over here. All right,
like we haven't done this a couple hundred times.
Right. Good old before and after. Here we go.
All right.
This one should be a fairly easy one. I went easy on you on this one.
Oh, you haven't gone easy so far.
2024 AL Cy Young winner, plus only Colorado Rockies pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter.
So 2024 AL Cy Young winner, that's Tariq Skubal. Rockies no-hitter. Oh, is it Tariq Skubaldo Jimenez?
Yes. Tariq Skubaldo Jimenez. Nice. Yep.
Oh.
Skubaldo? Jimenez.
Yeah, I don't know. Good. Just read it. Just look at the words. Yeah. Don't try to pronounce it.
Dude, I love putting these together. I like geek out over them all the time. They're not even that funny. They're just like, I love it.
Some of these are pretty damn creative, though, I will say. Like, that's not easy to connect some of these. John Moyer.
Listen, I'm going to make a Jamie Moyer, like all trivia Jamie Moyer, like episode. Maybe just every answer is Jamie Moyer.
Yeah, we have one guy in the comments of all our videos that guesses Ricky Henderson for everything, and he's right like 10% of the time.
Yep.
Because Ricky Henderson's answer to so many trivia questions.
Who's the oldest player to ever record a base hit?
Isn't it Ricky?
Nope.
Oh, damn. We
had this on there.
Oh, yeah.
It's Jamie Moyer.
I was waiting for you to click on John's comment.
Yeah, it's Jamie
I forgot about that. Jamie Moyer's hit.
Yeah. All right. MLB name scrambled. So scrambled eggs here. We just started this last week. So here we go. Who is this?
Do not threaten us with a good time, Forrest.
Yeah, right.
So it's got to be a Chad.
It is a Chad.
That's a lot of random letters. Is it a pitcher?
Yep. Mostly known for his time with the Dodgers, I would say.
Yep. Oh man. Oh, is it Billingsley?
It is Chad Billingsley. Nice. Nice job.
Could picture him, but I was trying to put the name together.
Yep. Absolutely. Nice work. Well, that's all I got.
Look at chat coming through, John, right after I said
Oh, nice. Yeah. Man, you guys crushed it tonight. Nice work.
Chat is killing it tonight.
Yep.
We got Chad, we got Brandon with it.
Man, we should just host a trivia show with guys in the chat. They just get points. It'd be sick. It'd be awesome.
I'm telling you, we've been talking about doing a kind of a private group here.
Yeah.
We should totally just host a trivia show. We've got so many knowledgeable baseball fans.
Yeah, it's insane. I love it. But well, that's all I had for trivia. Is there anything else you want to add in this special show tonight, Harrison?
No, I mean, we said it all at the beginning, and I just want to take a moment again to recognize the support we've gotten from friends, family, this amazing community and audience that we built that are here with us every night. But more importantly, I want to take a moment to appreciate and thank you, Nick, for all the work you've put into prepping the show, getting this thing rolling, keeping us on target. It is very much a labor of love, and we've spent a lot of time on it. But what I don't think people realize is the fact that, before we do every show, Nick is coming up with all the trivia questions, building out the show format, grabbing all the headlines, keeping a running tally and a notes app going of what to talk about. We put an immense amount of prep into this. Nick does most of it. And then the show's over. We're cutting out clips. We're adding all that stuff to try to keep the audience engaged. And, it is a lot of fun to do shows like tonight where we've got people in the chat engaging. Like, this is why we do it. We put a lot of time into this and we appreciate the interaction, but more than anything, I think it's important to realize that, like you, Nick, do a lot of work to make this show happen. And as great as we look when we just show up and start talking, it's only because Nick spent hours getting ready.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it a lot, and I couldn't do this without you either. I mean, I've learned so much from you, like on the technical, on the backside, like cutting everything out and posting and learning how to build that audience and everything like that. So, like, I mean, me and you have been an awesome team through this whole thing, and I'm still learning, and I love doing it. Like you said, like I love doing it. Like I'm at work all day, and the thing I want to do is get home and cut out the show, or get home and start building the slideshow for the next episode. So
and feedback like this, Brandon, like we really appreciate it. Like we're trying really hard to bring baseball content out that people want. You can go to all these different pages and they're all feeding you the same canned crap and the news headlines you've already seen in 5 places. Like we're trying to bring something original, bring something fun. And that feedback is great. We really, really appreciate that.
Yeah. And content that you guys can connect with, like, like I said, we're not writers. We're honestly, in the grand scheme of things, like we're nobody. Like we are just two avid baseball fans that love talking about baseball, and we love talking about baseball with you guys. And that's why we started the show. Like we did it just because we're like, oh, this will be a blast. This will be so much fun to do. And then it's like morphed into this as like, we've had genuinely nice people, baseball fans, come in and give us these interactions. Like tonight's show I couldn't have asked for anything better than this. Like you guys were incredible in the chat, and that's the kind of community that we want to build and keep building. And we've met some incredible people that keep coming back week after week, and don't think it doesn't go unnoticed, because it really does.
Yep.
But,
that's what we're here for, John. We want to clear your mind when you're working on your homework and you think about, like, that's what we're here for. And and so many of these folks, like, we just started putting content out there and people started finally coming to it, and we've always appreciated that. And we Forrest, you're not
Yeah.
nobody. Well,
Well,
in the grand
thanks.
scheme of things, you know,
I'm just a
but
peon that pays my taxes like everybody else. Like, come on now.
yeah. Well, and the
But
funny
thank you.
thing is too is part of this too was I've listened to plenty of baseball podcasts and watched plenty of baseball shows, and like I feel like they're all the same. Like they're all just kind of generic. It's the canned comment. They don't want to offend anybody because they want to make sure their guests come back. Like we can just be fans
Right.
and just say, hey, like I think he's terrible. I think he's overrated. I think that contract's terrible. Um, Jamie struck out Ruth 5 times in one game. Probably did.
Yeah.
But like this is why we do it, and we really appreciate
Right.
really
Yeah.
appreciate you guys showing up all the time.
Yeah.
And
John,
Commissioner Nick.
I know. Listen, it really was a tough decision, and we love Sean. And he, like I said, he will be on in a couple weeks to go over our preseason picks and stuff like that. So you'll see him from time to time. But I mean, we all have stuff in life that comes up, and it was just time. But
Sean's busy
he'll always be a part of the show for sure. I mean, a big
Yeah.
reason why we took off like we did. So
yeah, Sean's busy adulting. We love him. We appreciate everything you brought to the show. Like I think about our trip down to Baltimore and Washington. We had such a fun time, the three of us getting into trouble down there. But just tons of love. He was so important to getting us started.
Yeah,
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Thanks, Marshawn.
Well, yeah, either way, we appreciate it. Your Skittles are in the mail.
Yeah, right. But no, it's been a blast, and we appreciate everybody sticking around with us, and we look forward to creating another 200 shows. And we hope that the chat just continues to grow, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, John, we know you were just kidding for sure, but yeah, well, you'll see him again soon for sure.
Yeah, if there's a Johnny Damon story, we most definitely need it because some of those stories are legendary.
Yeah, and I said it at the beginning, like I think that's the thing I've enjoyed the most is getting to talk to you guys in the comment section and like listening to the different baseball stories you have. Like I talked to a guy the other day. He's like, "Oh, I was at Cal's record-breaking game at Camden Yards." I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
like,
tell me about it.
Yeah, like, are you serious? Like crazy. Like, I mean, just things that are like, oh yeah, like I saw Roberto Clemente play, and I'm like, okay, block because I hate you. He's my favorite player of all time. Like, I mean, it's been really, really cool to hear people's baseball experience, and that's why I think baseball is so much better than any other sport because everybody takes in baseball differently. Everybody enjoys it differently. Everybody sees it from a different lens. And that's what makes this game so unique. Everybody values something about the game just a little bit different and sees certain situations differently than other fans do. And I think that's what makes it incredible and a lot of fun to talk about because it's just like there's a lot of times you've brought up points and I've just been like, oh, I never really thought of it that way. Or fans bring up a point and I go, oh, that didn't even like register in my mind either. But like that's what makes baseball so great.
Yeah, it's incredible the stories that can be swapped, the things people have seen. Like we talk about the era of baseball we miss. We've got people in our chat and on our comments all the time that are from that era would like love to swap stories. And and that's one thing that we've talked about is how do we open the show up a little bit more to get more people on and engaged and sharing those stories with the greater baseball community. Like that's why we love having people like Forrest on because there's different angles and slants and there's a lot of history here that many people don't know. There's so much great stuff we can share and talk about that there's really kind of a never ending supply of great stuff we can share.
Yeah. So we were looking forward to the show for a while. It was like it kind of like snuck up a little bit because I'm like, oh, we're 187. Then I'm like, I blank and I'm like, oh, we're at like 195. We should probably start thinking about this. But yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. So again, thank you to everybody. Thanks to my family. My family has been a huge support. My wife letting me do this. mostly probably to keep me out of her hair most nights. But it really has been awesome because this has been something I've always loved to do. Like baseball is my love. She knows that, she understands that. And it's just been a blast. Like I've never been happier to like do something like
to work.
Like, right. Like I really enjoy putting in the
Yep.
extra hours on this. And it's not a job to me because I'm doing it at night and I have a huge smile on my face. And I mean, you see, like I laugh at my trivia questions sometimes and it's like, I don't know why it's funny, but it's just like, I enjoy it. And I hope that comes out to you guys as well. And that's why you guys enjoy it as well. So
yeah, there's many nights that Nick and I are passing messages back and forth at like 11:30 midnight.
yeah.
You know, hey, did you see that headline, see that story? Again, just diehard fans that we'd be doing this anyways. We might as well just like jump online and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if there's ever a time that you guys want to come on, because during the season there's going to be, like we said, like watch parties, just send us a message and you're more than welcome to jump on with us and just talk. Like we've been on for sometimes 3.5, 4 hours, just swapping baseball stories, talking about what's going on. So yeah, we would love to have you guys on. Like it's literally an open forum. Like, and if we can't get you on that date, we'll pick a date that works for you. Like we're pretty flexible. So just let us know. Like we really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is not like sacred grounds. Like we want to open it up and have more people involved and get more stories and get more things to talk about and just continue to bring content that everybody wants and cares about it, and also kind of addresses everything you guys want to talk about too. So we're always open to guests or even just give us some information. We'd love to share a story on the show, but it's very much an open forum. We are not control freaks. We don't have big egos and it's got to be all about us. Like we'd love to make room for other people.
Yeah, we don't, just leave people out of the club because they did something we don't like off the field.
It sounds like something we've talked about before, Nick.
Oh, too soon?
Yeah, probably too soon.
Oh, no. All right. Well, anyways. Yeah, it's not gentlemen's club, fellas. So,
Yeah.
Or ladies. So definitely yeah, just if you feel compelled to come on and talk, like send us a message and we will set up a time. We'll have you come on and we'd love to hear them. So
yeah, and keep an eye on the page too. From time to time, we'll just throw an open invite out there. Hey, we're gonna go live on Thursday. Anybody want to join us?
Yep.
Just hang around and talk some baseball. That's honestly how Craig's been on a few times. Just like, hey, let's go talk some baseball. He's like, I'll do it.
Yep. Yeah.
So
definitely. So, all right. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think we're good. This was a lot of fun for show 200, Nick.
Yeah, it was a blast. I probably could have kept going with trivia, but I was like, nah, I'll just leave it at that. I thought, going back and just doing one from each segment was kind of cool to kind of revisit. But again, thank you so much for being in the chat. Thank you to everybody that follows us on the page, all across our socials. The support means so much. Again, thank you to you, Harrison, for going on this journey with me. It's been incredible. And can't wait to celebrate our next milestone, which hopefully coming soon would be 10,000 followers on Facebook. We're creeping up there pretty quick. So I think that's our next big milestone.
Yeah, we're creeping up on 10,000 on Facebook and creeping up on 15,000 overall.
Wow. Wild. Crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thanks again, fellas. It was a blast in the chat. We will be on Sunday for Rounding Third Boston and our Rounding Third baseball podcast after. So we will see you there. Till then, behave yourselves or don't. Enjoy some spring training games, and we will see y'all on Sunday.